Welcome back to the Soapbox. So today I'm going to talk about something that is influential in I think everybody's life and important on different levels to different people. It's something that humans do that no other animal does. For those of you concerned about me recording this while driving, please note that it is attached to my dashboard and I will not be looking down at the camera because safety first. And if I'm going to have these thoughts anyway, I might as well speak them out loud. That's what the Soapbox is all about. And also, before I get into this topic, do me a favor, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Leave comments if you want. And know that my next topic will be about gay rights and today's Supreme Court decision about the Masterpiece cakes. If you don't know what that's all about, well then stay tuned for the next episode, and you will. But today's episode is about something a little more lighthearted, but also heavy. It's music. So everybody has a favorite band. Everybody has a style of music. Everybody likes a certain genre of music, some like many. But there's a certain level of respect that one must have for musicians and those who create music. Humans are the only creatures on the planet that really intentionally make music that I'm aware of. I mean, certain animals may ding out certain patterns to try and attract mates or communicate. We don't know. I know that dolphins make clicking sounds, but music itself is made specifically by humans for the entertainment or to send out a message to other humans. And that's pretty amazing in and of itself. But now, let's think about the actual musicians. These are people who have insane amounts of talent. They usually devote their entire lives to mastering an instrument, or even if that instrument is their voice, and to producing music. It's very, for most musicians that I've spoken to, and I know for myself when I play piano or mess around on drums or bass or whatever, it's very therapeutic, it's relaxing, or it helps me to get out certain things. It's almost meditative. But music can also be, and I say this in the most literal sense, life-saving. And that's why I think it's very important. When I was a younger Steve, in my young teenage years, I firmly believed that no one loved me, no one cared if I was alive, and that I would never leave an impact in this world, that my life wouldn't matter. If I died, no one would care. My parents might be a little upset, but they would get over it because they had my brother and sister, and ultimately I was unlovable. And it wasn't through any fault of my siblings. It wasn't through any fault of my parents. In fact, my parents did their best to show me that they loved me. My extended family, meaning my grandparents and my aunts and uncles, all tried to show me that they loved me, but it was a teenage angst thing. And when you're at that age and you start having those emotions, those are very real and often very painful feelings and emotions. Now, music can alter your state of mind. Prime example, when I study, I listen to music that doesn't have any words to it, any vocals, because the vocals will distract me and I'll want to sing along or I'll want to listen to whatever the message is. So I'll listen to instrumental stuff, and it helps me stay focused. Now, that could be an ADD thing, but I don't think so. I think it's a general, getting your brain in the right thing. And there's been studies on this, that if you listen to a certain type of music while you're studying, you're more likely to remember what it is that you're studying, especially if you listen to that music again right before you test on it. So that's kind of cool. But also it can make you depressed. It can make you happy. It can make you angry. It can stir you to all kinds of different emotions just by hearing the sound. You can hear a song that you haven't heard forever and you once absolutely loved, and it will give you goosebumps. And so it has this audible sound or collaboration of sound has a physical effect on your body, giving you goosebumps. That's how you know a song is good, and you get so excited about it. I've been stirred on a pretty regular basis, actually. Been stirred to tears because of how much I enjoyed a certain music. Back to the when I was a kid and depressed and sad and mopey. Like I said, it's a very real feeling, depression, even when you're a teenager. And it's very easy for adults who have survived the teenage years or didn't have that impact to say, this too shall pass, don't worry about it, you have no idea just how good you have it, you have no idea, how minor your problem and minuscule your problem is, and, it's very easy to say, oh, suicide is a very permanent solution. Oh, look at that, I lost my camera, there we go, hi. So, it's very easy to say suicide is a very permanent solution to a temporary problem, especially if you're an adult and you've never been suicidal. I was suicidal, so much so that I had made a promise with a buddy that I would go watch a movie with him and that I would listen to an album that he had gotten because he was psyched. He wanted to introduce me to certain kind of music. And I remember very distinctly, we have a viaduct in our town, a bridge. It's on Center Street, and there's no fence on this. It's just a rail, but there's a sidewalk. And I was walking across this bridge, and I literally, it was getting dark and it was in the summer. I literally stood up on this rail. Now, if I had jumped off, it was probably a story or two high, and I had planned on diving and breaking my neck and killing myself. I had not only had I thought about suicide and thought about how little my death would mean in the world, but I'd also made a plan on how to do it. But I was considerate. I was going to be careful to make sure that when I jumped, it would be on train tracks, because that would cause the most damage to my body and make sure that I died. But also I'd make sure that a train wasn't coming, because I didn't want to derail a train. Somehow I thought my body would derail a train, or I would make sure that I didn't fall in a car or something like that. So I had thought that much through, and I stood up there and I was going to jump. And then all of a sudden I had this thought in the back of my head: you don't want to die a liar. You made a promise that you were going to go see this movie. And so I went and I climbed down, and I thought, plus you can always jump on your way back. You know what I mean? At least you'll have left a good memory with your friend. And so I climbed down, and I went and saw the movie. And the movie was The Crow. Now, for those of you who haven't seen it, The Crow is a movie about a punk rocker who is murdered. He and his fiancée are murdered, and true love brings him back a year later with the magic of a crow so that he can get vengeance. But the ultimate story behind it was that true love can conquer everything, including death, and that it was very powerful. It hit very much home with me, because again, I was in a very dark period in my life. I was very much attracted to goth stuff and witchcraft and things like that. So like it really resonated with me, and I thought, I promised my buddy that I would meet up with him tomorrow to hear this album that he's been talking about for a few weeks now. I don't want to die a liar, and again, I can do this. This bridge will be here tomorrow. So those were the only two obligations I had made, and that movie really hit home with me, because again, what stemmed from my depression was the fact that I thought I was unloved, and I thought that I was unlovable. And so at the time, the music that I was listening to was a radio station called, I want to say it was Kiss 107, that's what it was, Kiss 107 FM, and they played pop, soppy music. I'm talking like Boys to Men and Mariah Carey and that sort of stuff. So it was very mushy stuff like that. And so of course, I wasn't into the music that I'm in now and that I have been in since the next day. So the next day I went to my buddy's house. His name is Will. Will Harwell, you don't know this, but you saved my life. I went to Will's house, and he played an album called Injustice for All by Metallica. And I'd never heard of Metallica. I'd never seen any of their music. I didn't know anything about it. But there was this one song he went on and on about and said, you have to hear this, it's amazing. And it was the song One by Metallica. And One not only has one of the most iconic music videos of all time, but it's one of the best songs of all time. If you have never heard Metallica because of some preconceived notion, you need to listen to One, you need to listen to Sanitarium, you need to listen to Master of Puppets, you need to, and not the whole album, but just the song, you need to listen to Ride the Lightning, Fade to Black. I know I'm listing off a bunch of songs, but these are songs that are 7 levels above anything else that's out there. And that's not what got me, though. The message is what got me, because a lot of music, a lot of metal especially, will be all about the metal and the instrumentals and that sort of thing, which the talent is way above par for Metallica. But the lyrics are poignant and they're important. And with Metallica, they're a lot of times about social issues and about things like that. So for this particular song, it's based on the book and movie Johnny Get Your Gun. And it's about a boy who goes off to war, and he ends up, I don't know if he gets hit by a grenade or if he steps on a landmine, but essentially his arms and legs and a good chunk of his face are blown off. And he is alive, but kept alive via a machine. So it's interesting. He's kept alive via a ventilator, and he can't talk, he has no way of communicating, and all he wants is death. He wishes that they would kill him, but he has no way of getting that message out there because he is a vegetable. And so that really hit home with me, because I thought, I want to kill myself, and I have the power to do so. This guy wants to die for good reason. He's constantly in pain. He's tied to a bed. He has absolutely no way of communing with the outside world. And the only thing he wants to do is take his own life to end his pain. And he can't even do that. He doesn't have the ability to do even that. Not only that, but he doesn't have the ability to let the outside world know that that's what he wants. My life isn't so bad. And between that and the message of the crow, which is everybody has a true love, and that true love is more powerful than any other force on the planet, it changed me. It changed my perspective. It made me realize that life wasn't so bad, and that I really needed to stop listening to the sappy music and start focusing on what was good in my life. And so Metallica, specifically the song One, and James Hetfield's lyrics literally saved my life. And I'll never forget that. And that's very powerful. I got a buddy named Jason, and he is a hardcore Metallica and Megadeth fan. And he has said multiple times that Metallica saved his life as well. And there's a lot of music out there where that's the case. Music is a great uniter. It's a very powerful tool to get a message out there, and it can really bring people together. It can drive people apart too, don't get me wrong, but it is a very, very powerful tool. And so I just wanted to take a minute in this video to pay respect to music, to recommend that people check out Metallica, and even their new stuff is really freaking good too. All Nightmare Long is a great song. Saint Anger is a great song, and the band itself, Metallica, is extremely interesting, and their story is interesting, and James Hetfield's story specifically, very interesting. So if you have the opportunity, you should listen to that music. If you're into a certain specific genre of music, I highly urge you to widen your perspective and broaden your horizons and listen to other types of music. I like heavy metal, I like rock, but I will listen to some country once in a while. I love classical music. I love instrumental music. I love listening to scores of movies. It's all out there. It all moves you. So, if you're going to be watching silly YouTube videos all day or playing video games, which, again, no problem with that. Love my video games. But if you're going to be doing that anyway, you might as well take some time to expand your mind with music. So that's pretty much all I have today. Thank you very much for tuning in and listening to me chat about it. If you have a similar experience, or if music moves you somehow, do me a favor, tell me about it in the comments. Hell, DM me. I'd love to hear about it. I would love to hear your story. We can start a dialogue. Also, like I said, stay tuned for my next episode, which will be about my take on gay rights in this country and where that is, where it's going, where it's been, and what is overlooked by that, and what the Supreme Court's decisions have done and will do to, and what they mean. So my total breakdown of gay rights stuff. So if that's interesting to you, tune into the next video. If it's not, that's okay. Just subscribe. I'm sure I'll talk about something you'll like, and check out my extensive catalog of like 6 videos. Hey, thanks for your time. I'm going to step off the soapbox. I know it's been a long video, so appreciate it. Be good to each other. Take care of yourself.